Yay, we're live.
Oh my.
We got people here already.
Badger, good to see you. Southern Ohio Prepping, nice to see you. I did not tell you about the email.
You did not tell me about an email.
No, I will tell you about an email later.
He tells me nothing. By the way, do y'all like my t-shirt? I love my t-shirt. I like funny t-shirts. I can't help it.
Let's see. I think they tied. They're both tagged in at 6:59.
Are y'all here? Can y'all see us?
Can you hear us? Can you see us?
I don't know. No one's talking to us. Okay. We'll just wait around.
Wait, it just went from 0 to 10 people watching.
That's because everybody's tuning in. Everybody's tuning in.
So how you guys doing tonight? I see people there.
People. Come, people. Get your half cup. Rock, paper, scissors.
Lizard Spock.
All right, rock, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. You should have went with paper. You had it first and it would have won.
There you go. So, hey guys, someone type a comment. Make sure that we are actually being heard, being seen.
This is for y'all. We want to interact with y'all. Who likes my t-shirt? That's what I'm going to go with. Our cats are fighting. It sounds like growling back there. There's 12. We got 12 people.
We got 12 viewers. Are we actually...
Can we go get my phone, see if we're actually broadcasting?
Sure.
Okay, 1 minute. Where you got the cat fight over here?
Miss Kim has left the building.
I haven't left the building.
We can see you and are typing. Hi, Hobie. We're not seeing any comments coming through.
Oh, crud muffins.
There's plenty, maybe reboot. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's tons of comments going on. Okay, I'm seeing on my phone, but it's not showing up on there.
There's plenty, maybe reboot. Okay.
Okay. Wow, there's tons of comments. Okay. May have to do this weird because it's not showing up on our screen on here. These things. All right, so there is Babo.
Babo.
And Nikki. Nikki's watching.
Hey, Nikki.
Tank. Brian.
Brian says we're good to go. Nope, can't see or hear you. You know, there are times I worry about Babo.
NWA.
Oki's here. Evening, Captain Bart.
Oh, they say they like my t-shirt. Isn't that perfect? I wear that to work all the time. I just don't know why it's not popping up on there. It's weird.
Eric, I'm going to try something. Hang on, guys. We'll be right back.
But maybe I can go back. Do it again. Hope we didn't lose everybody. No, we got it.
Okay, it looks like the comments are back up. It looks like things are going now.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We'll just wait till we start scrolling.
Now Steve is unsupervised. Usually. Keep an eye on that.
Mug.
Keep an eye on that.
Anybody else? Anybody else part of Mug Club?
Keep an eye on that so that we can make sure that this is actually working. Because it's as if we left and everything popped up. Just mute the volume. Yeah, see, it's behind.
Well, yeah, it lags a little bit. It's okay.
Let me make sure I've got live chat pulled up.
NWA says nice patch, or Badger says nice patch, and NWA. How did the heaters work in the camper last night? Amazingly, it got too hot in there. We had to turn them back off. It really didn't help that we also had a wolf climbing into bed with us like all night long, racking up the temperature. Is it still not showing comments?
Yeah, just since Lady Liberty.
Brian, Stephen Crowder is a wild man. I know, right? But I couldn't help it. I did it just for the mug. This thing is girthy. Preacher Bear, Texan. Hey guys, I'm having to look on comments on my phone because this is going to be a terrible live stream if I can't see you guys. It's the whole reason why we do it, is so we can say hi to y'all. Oh, my day hike. Oh, it was wonderful. Luckily, I didn't have to use like gear other than just water and snacks. You know, nobody tripped and fell, and we didn't have to make a shelter. But the backpack I got was super comfortable. The weight was just perfect. We didn't overdo it or anything. And I got told that I was probably a little over-prepared for just a little 5-mile hike, but better to be over-prepared than under-prepared, because there was one trail that if you accidentally got on, it went for like 175 miles out into the wilderness.
She missed it.
Okay.
StreamYard is having an issue with comments loading. So
we don't have to read on here.
We're going to be switching back and forth. Sorry, guys. It's going to be a little slow.
Okay. Oki says, so Kim inspired me to do a 10 C's of prepper pantry. I'm stuck on 7, not enough C's.
Colander, cauliflower, Cavenders,
cutlery, coffee. Coffee is a must in every prepper kitchen. Find a way to always have coffee. We've got green coffee beans stored. We've got little singles. We've got instant coffee. We've got regular coffee.
Roasting it so that it doesn't go rancid. Coffee. Yeah.
Greetings. Okay. I'm not. Camppatton Family Compound. Greetings from Southeast Idaho. Awesome.
The Redoubt. A very good place to be.
We went for a great day of hike today. It's been beautiful this weekend. I don't know about where you guys are at, but we lucked out with such a beautiful weekend for camping. It got a little cold in the evening, but being in the camper wasn't bad at all. But the days were cool, not too hot, not too cold, perfect hiking weather. It was awesome. Because we don't have the link to go to StreamYard. Yeah, StreamYard, they said all their comment sections are being goofy, though, so I don't know what's going on with that. Cups. Preacher.
I'll show you my cup. Warning, this mug is adjusted for inflation.
It's going to look like I'm ignoring you guys, but I am reading y'all's comments. I should bring them up here. So,
Tell you what.
That's a cool half cup from Brian. We have about a 2 years supply of tea. Tea's good as well. We've got a bunch of tea. We even have a guy that he grows his own organic and sends us organically made teas in like brown paper bags. So we have to find ways to store it. But it's already dried out and everything. It's really good.
I promise they're normal teas, regular teas,
Yeah, that's like he does like
real tea, not
lemon balm. He does chamomile. He does, he does a bunch of different kinds of homegrown tea.
Oh, hey, NWA, you like my shirt? Since you're my boss now.
Okie says now he's at 8. So one of our C's helped probably the coffee.
Cauliflower.
Compost.
Compost, but that's in the pantry?
Well, it says kitchen.
In the kitchen?
He said a kitchen. So composting says 10 C's of a prepper kitchen. Composting. You compost in your kitchen.
Yes, we do. Cavender's makes 9.
Okay.
Preacher Bear, we have about a 2-year supply of tea. Ah, NW Prepper. That's a great looking shirt. Don't you
think he said
so?
Coffee's already on his list. So, though I'm a tea drinker. But you could totally trade coffee. I would trade just about anything for a cup of coffee if I've been out for a while. That's a great looking shirt.
I think
Chickens for your C's for your.
Yes,
Okie.
Chickens.
Chicken starts with a C.
Okay, can make some.
Steve, how does it feel?
How does what feel?
Your shirt, apparently.
My shirt it's
comfy. It looks comfy.
Look, I'm a tactile person. When I buy my clothes, I go through and I feel the fabric. And, I didn't get a chance to feel this before it came. Let me tell you something. It's nice. It's very, very nice. And I very, very much like it. So, yeah.
PA Mountains. I grow my own mint. It's actually invasive. Keep it in a container. 4 or 5 cuttings a year. Awesome.
Yeah, so we're representing adventurefrontier.com for all your camping and hiking.
You're supervised and
whatnot
unsupervised.
Needs, prepping needs, medical needs. Go to adventurefrontier.com first.
Okay.
But we do need to actually get serious. It is 7:15, and whether or not we're going to be a few minutes behind on the comments and responding, we do need to get moving because Kim does have a hard out between 8:15 and 8:30 to go to bed. She's got to work tomorrow.
Y'all feel bad for me. I have to be up at 4:30 in the morning to get ready to go for work tomorrow in the morning. So, yeah. Sleep is definitely a must. You can't be tired running a machine. I mean, it doesn't work that way. They get kind of frowned upon when you're kind of falling asleep into a lathe. And
then there are accidents and accident forms to fill out. And yeah.
OSHA don't like me.
Preacher Bear, it's 01:15 there. That would be true. And I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. You're a brave man.
Braver than me. 1:15. No. I used to work night shift, so actually I was used to staying up quite late.
When do you plan on going back on night shift?
When they actually allowed to bring back a night shift. We had a really bad layoff at our company and they got rid of night shift and they're like, okay, you have to come to days or you're going to get laid off too. And I'm like, see you Monday morning. So
the tug half asleep many times. Okay, so EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots with a Story of Survival by Jonathan Hollerman.
I enjoyed this book. So jumping into it, way different from our first book club, which was 77 days in September. We wanted to jump into one that was written by like a real professional at this. Hollerman himself is a SEER instructor. He is a former
Air Force SEER instructor. He currently runs his own company doing bug out location consultations and whatnot. A year or two ago, first time I came across his book, I went to his website and looked at the pricing, and for what he offers, it is extremely reasonable. and
Out of my price
at
range.
this point in time, out of my price range. However,
but he's a guy that does know his stuff.
Between Prosper Ready from Bear Independent and Mr. Hollerman, I'm definitely putting money aside into an account for a consultation. And I really want Prosper Ready because we have a personal relationship with those guys.
Okay, I don't know if most of y'all know, we do have our cabin, our retreat.
Yes.
But that is family owned, not just ours.
Correct.
So we've got your parents and we got us. So it's technically family owned for the Bug Out location. We are looking to buy our own separate property. Fingers crossed, prayers needed that this happens soon because we're hoping to bring y'all along on this journey. We have been talking with them. We have been trying our darndest to give you a little insight on this. This is what I find really funny. Keep an eye on the comments because y'all are going to love this. The guy that we are looking to buy the property from, and this Hollerman's got me thinking about it even more and more about we need this property. He's 93?
I believe so.
93-year-old prepper who doesn't want to sell his bug out vehicle or bug out location until he absolutely has to. Isn't that awesome? 93 years old, going strong, prepping, been doing it for years, is like hardcore. And we fell in love with the property. It's adjacent to our current bug out location. So it would be absolutely perfect to just kind of build the compound out and expand the empire.
We're taking over the mountain.
It'd be our mountain. It's
mine.
But
we'll rename the mountain Eyre. I'll be Stephen of Eyre. And whenever anybody asks, I'll say, yeah, it's mine.
But yeah, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that he'll go ahead and try to sell it for us. He's already said in his living will that if he passes away, we get first dibs on it, or if he has to go into a nursing home, we get first dibs on it, buying it. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool that he's 93 years old and still going really strong, prepping and not wanting to give up his bug out location.
Let's give a little more insight and detail. This man's children went to grade school with my mother. He's been basically a second grandfather to me for years. And when I expressed the interest, he's like, hey, not a problem. You know, you get first dibs to buy. The family will be fair to you. Not a problem. We were together by this time.
Mm-hmm.
I think. No, it was soon before you and I got together. I would say
pre-Kim times.
10, 12 years ago, maybe. He was putting the metal roof on his shop. Now, this shop is enough that you could probably fit how many vehicles?
Oh, Lord. Probably 3 RVs, full-size RVs in it.
Yeah. I mean, he
3 trucks, big trucks.
Yeah. I mean, he was manually putting the roof on this thing and fell off the roof. And I was the person who found him, got EMS on the way, got him stabilized. As soon as he was out of the hospital with his hip repaired, he comes down to the house and says, hey, Steve, here's a walkie-talkie. I'm going to go finish my roof now.
Hardcore.
This man was a Louisiana oil welder for many years.
Hence the reason why I want the shop, by the way.
Something just popped.
I know, if I say it's like lagging behind on the comments. I'm there, but
Kunzi.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy. So back to Hollerman's book.
Yeah, because the reason why I was brought up the bug out location is because in Hollerman's book, the disasters in EMP, similar to the last book, terrorists get a hold of it, an EMP type weapon, shoot it off, detonates above the continental United States, wipes out all electronic devices. I actually got to have a conversation on my day hike talking about what an EMP was, and I was really surprised that most people had never heard of what an EMP was. So I was actually talking to my sister, who I love. I love my sister, but she's not really into this lifestyle. I mean, she knows that I run the channel, and I've been trying to invite her to watch. I hope she's watching.
You run the channel? I
run the channel. Who run the world? You know I do. But anyways, it was an opportunity to lightly talk about worst case scenario. And I told her, I said, this worst case scenario, I don't think it's super likely, but it is something that's on my own heart to get to talk about what an EMP was. So on one hand, I'm glad a lot of books talk about it, but on the other hand, it does get kind of repetitive. Mm-hmm. But I do like this one, how it approaches an EMP and how quickly things can devolve.
Yeah.
We've always said an EMP is what is our like number one, like worst case scenario. And I think it's everybody's worst case scenarios. I think it's the United States government's worst case scenario, according to that 2008 report.
Yeah.
Try to keep up with the comments.
Well, we owe Sonia a
some hung
shout
Steve.
out. Thanks, Conzi. I'm doing the best I can.
But in Hollerman's book, like I said, it starts out the cool thing was, unlike our last book, who was a guy who was completely unprepared and not knowing what to do. In this book, the main character is a prepper. It is somebody who is kind of, I don't want to say a woke because that sounds really weird, is aware of these kind of threats, is aware of what has happened. He is aware of the reports of what could possibly have happened.
Hi, Sonia.
Has talked to his friends and co-workers, just chatting about an EMP. And so you've got somebody who is aware. So when it goes down, he's at work, right? Oh, you're reading the comments?
Yeah, I'm going to try something. If someone wants to try to jump in and share the screen, maybe we'll see what happens. If it works, if that gets thrown in there.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it looks like it went.
Ah, hi, there we go. I didn't mean to do that. They're kind of lagged on that one. I found it interesting mostly because just being aware.
Tell your wife tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Picard looking Steve. Picard looking Steve. That's funny. All right, do the face palm. Picard face palm.
I'll have you know, counselor, that I have trained extensively for these types of situations.
See what I have to put up with? He's even got a Trekkie outfit. I'll make him wear it. But anyways, what I was going to say is because he was aware of what an EMP was, that automatically gave him a leg up on what to look for.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the book, which I thought was really interesting. Counselor Kim.
Hi, guys.
This is Camppatton Family Compound. Hey, Gail, what's up?
Hey, having fun.
This is cool. That's the first time I've ever done this.
This is why I was wanting to do StreamYard.
Yes, StreamYard is great for this.
This is awesome.
Yeah, you can have up to a total of 6, counting yourselves, 6 people on here.
Sweet. I think ours only allows for like 3 or 4, but we're just the basic users.
Well, I know. Will at Just in Time Prepping
Yeah.
He's still on the free, and he puts 6 people up on there total.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what we do on Monday nights.
We're totally going to have to get NWA to do this with us. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
There we go.
So have you read the book?
Not yet. I just brought it up on Amazon to check it out for my Kindle. It's $2.99, and so I'm going to be looking at it and see how it is.
We really enjoyed it. It really was an interesting book, especially from somebody, like I said, was so knowledgeable about the topic. And so I think you'll really enjoy it. I think everybody in here is really, I forgot to ask at the beginning, who all has actually read Equipping Modern Patriots by Jonathan Hollerman?
I noticed that there are 3 books in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, the third one just came out. I downloaded it on Audible, but I haven't even touched it yet.
We're working our way through.
Let me bring this other one up here real quick.
Sonia read it a while ago. Okay.
Kanzi, honestly, what is the longest you can survive without power to date? Kanzi, a couple years ago, we had a major ice storm in northwest Arkansas, and I was without power for 5 weeks and 3 days. And I had no problems. Honestly, the best part of it was going to bed with the sun and
Adjust my chair up so I'm not sitting down so low.
that works.
I'm going to set up nice and tall.
Yeah.
Work on my posture. Yeah, we're just on our living room couch. Scoot in close.
Hi.
Hi.
Some issues that I did have with the book. The whole bugging out on bicycles, I was good with.
Yeah.
Towing a grocery cart. Those things can't stay on 4 wheels in the grocery store.
The idea behind it was good, but like you said, I had issues.
On the bugging out on bicycles, I saw a really cool contraption that basically it's not made for bugging out. It's made to attach to the bicycle, has 2 big bicycle-sized wheels on. It's a little cart, like a little wagon thing for going to the grocery store and stuff in.
Yeah.
That would work great.
That's what I was thinking, because the guy in the book builds it kind of last minute the night that it happens. And I was like, if you know something like this is going to happen, why don't you have this already kind of in the process of building this,
Yeah.
But that's what I said. I said, I'd much rather have something with bicycle tires that's used to going over long periods of time. Because my biggest thing is something with small tires, something with small wheels, you get more revolutions. It's having to spin a lot more to keep up with the big tires.
It's going to wear out faster.
Yeah, working on a lathe, revolutions per minute is just kind of on my mind most of the time. And so, something bigger tires are not having nearly as many revolutions to keep up with the same amount of speed. And so I'm just picturing that bicycle just going down like hills and stuff, and that little grocery cart just trying to keep up.
And if it's going in the dirt, you got all that dust and stuff getting in there, and that's just going to grind it up.
Yeah.
I remembered running over a pebble in the grocery store and it just stopped. It stopped.
Yeah.
Go to the grocery store, and I'm like,
yeah,
this would never work as a bug out vehicle, like ever.
I mean, a golf bag cart, one of those little caddies you put your golf bag on, would work better because they got at least 12-inch wheels.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that's one thing I think, because we've talked about doing the bicycle thing. Batted around the idea. We've got the kids' bicycles, but we haven't really found any that we like at a decent price. But I told them if we did, we would definitely start building a trailer right away. And so I need my welder now.
My wife and I had looked at bicycles as part of our backup as well. And what's it called? I think it's called if I remember right, Mongoose. It's got like the big old fat 4-inch wide tires on it, front and rear. It's made for off-road, and it's a 5-speed bike. So you
Okay.
don't have a ton of gears to go through, so you're easily more controlled on it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to have to pedal it a little bit more. But we're talking about that and taking one of that and just filling the tube full of the green slime. So if you do run over something, it's already set to self-seal.
I like that. I like that a lot. You know, the thing about this book, if you've read, what is it, Survival Theory by Hollerman, it's his nonfiction breakdown book. It's kind of his version of How to Survive the End of the World by James Wesley Rawls.
Mm-hmm.
This book, he manages to lecture quite often.
Mm-hmm.
From his book.
There's like a scene where at the very beginning after it happens where the main character calls all of his coworkers into an office and takes the podium, and then for the next 5-6 pages is a breakdown of this is what we're going to do, complete with knife hands. And that's one thing I do appreciate with this book, is that Hollerman balances being a educational book with a pretty good action story.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it too, is it wasn't all everything went perfectly to plan, and look how wonderful of a prepper I was, and I had everything worked out perfectly, and it ta-da, look how great. Nothing went wrong. And he does go into when things fall apart and things go really badly, and one of his team members is shot during one of their bug outs. You're not expected. They get ambushed, heading out to say, he stops first at his family farm to check on his family and get them settled, and then goes ahead and tries to go to his actual retreat with his group. With his retreat group people, they get ambushed.
Aww, NWA
NWA
Prepper is our first ever super chat. Thank you, sir, very much.
I love you.
I love you, brother.
You're like the sweetest ever. Oh my goodness.
There we go.
That just, wow.
I know. Warms the cockles of my heart. Even though I don't like that phrase, but
You have a heart?
It's somewhere in the cabinet.
Okay. But what do you think about what could go wrong with a bug out plan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. First of all, to let you know who I am, I just retired from Homeland Security.
Okay.
I was the emergency management coordinator. I wrote the base plan and 47 tactical response plans. Each tactical response plan would be one for earthquakes, one for wildfires, one for tornadoes, one for for the government.
So you're the guy that local fire departments who get these plans go, we have to read this now?
Basically, I wrote the stuff for the federal government for Homeland Security.
Okay.
And TSA and ICE and Customs, all the agencies within Homeland Security. My thing, which drives my wife nuts, is everything can be improved upon.
Okay.
So like when I do a remodel, I go through about 6 different stages as I'm doing the remodel. She's pulling her out. Just get it done. I look for everything that can go wrong. And what I did as the emergency manager coordinator, I'd go around and I would test some of the sites. Like I went over to San Francisco Airport and I walked in, told the local federal security director there, hey, I'm going to be testing your guys today. I walked down the checkpoint and I just walked through and to see if they would stop me, ran a breach, and had a couple other people, team went in there and we caused all sorts of problems to see how they'd respond to people trying to rush the checkpoint. I've gone over to Coast Guard Island, did the same thing over there. Had walked in and said, all right, place is on fire. What are you doing? Just freaked them out. But as far as a bug out thing going wrong, how many fingers you got on your hand? That's how many can go wrong in the first hour.
Yeah.
All right, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
2 seconds. Bobo gave us another super chat. Bobo.
Hey, Bobo, yay!
I can't believe it. Thank you so much, sweetie. That is so nice of you. Love you.
Yeah.
I'm speechless at the moment.
Yeah, you're getting super chats are great.
I know, right? And they're the sweetest guys ever. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional. I better stop. They're just, we've got the greatest people out there. We do. We've got so many wonderful people. Anyway, problems with bug out.
Problems with bug outs. Yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer in 2 very famous adages. 1, military adage: no plan survives contact with the enemy.
Yeah, we do that one. Yeah.
And then the other one from literature is the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And in a couple of my books that I have, they talk about plan A, plan B, plan C, plan Z. All the way through. Yeah. So you got to have plans on plans. You don't get down into the weeds on all the plans. It's just like, if this goes wrong, what do we do now? And you have a general idea of things in your mind, routes, backup routes,
contingency.
Yeah. Always contingencies. Prior to our buying the compound here in Idaho, we had relatives up in Northern California, and we'd mapped out on a Thomas Brothers map book 12 different ways to get to my brother's place up in Northern California, because and we didn't even have Interstate 80 on there. We didn't have Interstate 5 on there. We eliminated all the main arteries right off the bat, and we started planning other routes on state and county roads to get up there.
Question.
Yeah.
What was the next below an interstate that you would consider a viable route?
State highways. It's regular, dotted line, one road going each way. Regular, state route, like Route 12 in California is one. Just regular ones that are marked as a state route, and then you can go from there down to county routes.
Okay.
And then worst came to worst was the PG&E power line route.
Oh, okay.
Where they clear underneath the big transmission lines, they clear that. All you got to do is have bolt cutters. When you come to a main road, cut the lock, go across, cut the lock, and continue on that route. But there's and that would be a route someone on a bicycle might want to take.
Okay.
Because it's cleared. They generally, where the power lines go and stuff, if it's going in your general direction, that would be a route to consider.
All right. The reason I ask is we're between 100, 150, and 200 miles, depending on what route you take from our cabin right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have any major interstates, but we have state highways that we've looked at along with county. And so I was wondering what you would consider, no go versus a go.
Well, it also depends on populations.
See, that was our biggest thing, is trying to avoid large population centers along the way.
Right. And if you're talking, it also depends on what the event is that causes you to bug out. If it's an EMP, most of the people in your population centers aren't going to be able to get out on the road to where you want to go to because their cars aren't working.
Yeah.
True.
If it's a pandemic and everybody's freaking and panicking and, leaving, a lot more roads are going to be more congested. Small towns, when I say small town, I'm talking, 500, to 800 population. They're probably not going to be going anywhere.
Yeah.
But what you have to worry about is them throwing up roadblocks.
See, that's one thing. Our biggest problem is because we're probably in the biggest town in the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're going to be hitting a lot of smaller, I guess you would put them in more in the village. I mean, they're small enough to not even be considered a town, but just more small, isolated communities.
Right.
I'm thinking of a certain isolated community with a certain pastor in charge just north of here, he would definitely probably
have roadblocks
shutting down his town just because he is aware of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He's switched on,
Right.
and I see him shutting down his town.
Well, you would want to avoid those towns anyways, even though, because in the farmlands, you can figure there's going to be roads out and about and around that you can go up, get within like a mile of the town, turn left or turn right, go over a mile or two. Oh, the road continues back, go in the direction you want to go and just go around it. So that's, the type of stuff you want to plan to do is to go around. And not just have one route around that town, but have a farther route out. Because you're coming up and you see a roadblock up there. Oh, we got to go back a half mile, catch that road, and go around.
Yeah. Have to backtrack a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. That's where having on your person when you're bugging out a good set of binoculars
and a road map.
road map. I love Thomas Brother maps. You can get detailed, the big, regular sized books.
Mm-hmm.
And just flip the page and you can mark it all out. Now, that said, when you mark out your routes, you mark them out in code. You don't draw the line on it totally. You figure out some way of just marking a dot here, a dot there, something that lets you know how you're going to do it. Because in case you drop that, you don't want someone finding your cabin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And the other thing, once you have the book all set up, however you're going to mark it with codes or whatever, however you're going to do it, so that looking at it, okay, these are the routes we've checked out. These are the routes we know. Get some clear contact paper, cover it over with clear contact paper, so that if it's raining, it doesn't ruin the pages.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've also started making contacts along different routes as well.
Yeah.
And I think that because of how long of a trek we would have to do, and God forbid on foot.
Yeah.
That's why I do love doing this and meeting people and talking to people. I talk to people about mags all the time, mutual assistance groups. But just making contacts, ham contacts with your ham radio group, going to meet and greets, things like that. And, hey, if I'm trekking through this way, can I set up a tent? I won't get into your food or anything. I just want somewhere safe I can sleep for the night. And if you've known this person for years, you've gone to, meet and greets with them for years. They know you, you know them, they know you're not going to come there and go marauder on their compound. You've been to their compound. You've met their family.
Texan, yes, absolutely. We have asked to bury caches at certain people's places.
Yes, yeah, and we've got that one small community I was just talking about the pastor being in charge of just north of here. We're friends with them. We made sure we made friends with them because we have to cross exclusively. We have to cross there. There's not a whole lot of going around that community. Right. So we went ahead and just made friends with them and just saying, hey, can we stop by?
Well, what we do is as we approach, I get on the radio and I report in as Bowles Fire Department number X. And
well, he made friends with the pastor's also the fire chief, along with the mayor and everything else in that town. Steve helped them get their ham radio set up for their fire stations and got talking about prepping and
that helps.
And making contacts with people. And he knows that we're not one of the troublemakers and, we're just going to try to push on through, but it's a place that we can sleep and get dry for the night, if we need to, and just have a place to kind of crash on our trek on the way. Cause it's probably a good day's hike from here. And so it'd be perfect for that first day of meet and sleep. But that's what we're trying to do is make contacts kind of along the way, different routes, different people, using ham radio, like I said, that way you can give a heads up that you're down the road. You don't get shot down somebody's driveway.
Exactly. Hey, we're coming in. Don't shoot us.
It's a good thing.
Now, one of the other things that you need to consider everybody needs to consider if they're going to be going to a bug out location is what I call Plan Z. You're not going to be able to make it. You need to have some, like you've done. You've made friends along the way.
Mhm.
Okay, this is the far as we're going to go. We need to join this community.
Yeah.
And make a stand here for a while. It may be a year or two, and then you can be able to continue on after things settle down.
Definitely. Yeah.
So,
That's a definite worst case scenario because we definitely want to get going.
Now, friends of ours in California, up the street from our house there, they have horses. She's boarded. They board other people's horses. They got their own horses. Their plan. We know a couple other people know about it. Is that they have the having a brain fart here. For the horses the packs
Saddlebags?
not saddlebags, the hard rig that you put on there instead of a saddle.
Oh, that's a pack saddle.
It's not a pack saddle. It's got a different name for it, but basically, yeah, it goes on there. It's got everything hangs on it. You can put bags and everything on it and stuff. They have several of those.
Okay.
And if they have to bug out, they're putting them on everybody's horses, and they're just taking everything and going. And they have friends that are up in Oregon, what they'd be going to, but they've ridden those horses halfway up to the state line on camping trips, following the Pacific Crest Trail and stuff like that. So horses, expensive. Yeah. But if you're into the horses and you get the enjoyment out of them and you ride them all the time and stuff, and it's an investment, you got to choose your pleasures and how you spend your money.
Yeah.
Budgeting is the big thing that most people don't really plan when they're doing their whole plan.
Yeah.
It's one of the things. All right, tomorrow night on Just in Time Prepping, we got a panel of 6 of us on there, and the topic on it. Let me bring up my document here. I've been working on Monday night panel. Okay, the topic of it is what are you doing now to better your position, aka making the dream a reality and preparedness. And basically, we're going to be talking about what we've done so far, how we've done it, what we're going to do to continue our preps and stuff. And just to give you a quick preview on it, for my part of it is, the first thing that my wife and I did is we started talking about what we want to do at our retirement redoubt location. You know, what we're going to do. Are we going to be raising what type of animals, what type of gardening we're going to be doing, and everything else. Then we worked on setting a budget. So, but once we just talked about what we'd like to do, then we set a budget before we actually started looking.
Nice.
Then we started looking, and we looked for several years before we found this place in Idaho. And let me read up here. Okay. We looked for several years. When we got this property here, we weren't ready to move up here. My daughter was already up in this area. That's why we started looking at this area. All right, fine. You're moving out of your apartment. You're moving into the main house on the property. So we got someone to look after the property. We didn't have to worry about winterizing it, you know, with all the pipes freezing and stuff like that. And so we could come up on weekends and stuff and work on the place until I retired. So we were able to do step at a time. And a lot of people think you got to go whole hog on preparedness. You don't. Do you remember a Christmas animated thing, Santa Claus is Coming to Town? It's the one that was narrated by Fred Astaire. And basically it talks about Kris Kringle, and he's growing up, and he meets Jessica in the town, and he's giving the toys out, and the Burgermeister tries to stop him, and he runs into the Winter Warlock, who's actually played by Keenan Wynn. He's all mean guy and everything else, and he gives him a toy train and starts melting his heart. He goes, well, I don't know how to be good. And the song he goes through is putting one foot in front of the other, and soon you're walking across the floor. put one foot in front of the other, and soon you're walking out the door.
It's familiar.
Yeah, that is the same thing for prepping. One step at a time. Don't try to do the whole shebang. Otherwise, you get overloaded, burnt out, and turned off on it.
And that's why we talk about it being kind of a lifestyle instead of just something to like a checklist to have
Right.
to kind of, okay, I've got my year's worth of food, check. I've got my this, check. It's kind of just be making it a part of your lifestyle. You know, like I said, just going for that day hike the other day, people that thought I was going to over prepared, but I'm sorry. Prepping is just what I do. It's my lifestyle. I get prepared for going out into the woods for the day.
Yep.
Now, wait a minute. She also watches a lot of Missing 411.
I do, and I'm terrified to be one of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to go missing in the woods.
Yeah, it's like for me, I got involved in prepping back in 1971. We were living at the time in Southern California, and we got hit with a 6.7 earthquake, the Silmar earthquake.
Okay.
And so, you know, there was a lot of devastation down there. There was a run in the grocery stores. Everybody laughs up at this, but there was a run in the grocery stores on toilet paper. And there was a lot of stuff. But with that, my parents started to say, well, we need to get prepared. Once there was a run on toilet paper and some other stuff, they go, wait, we need to get supplies and stuff. Well, in our church, there's an organization called the Relief Society, the women's organization. My mom was asked to prepare a lesson on emergency preparedness for earthquakes. Well, at the time, I'm in the Boy Scouts. I just finished the Emergency Preparedness Merit Badge and the Wilderness Survival Merit Badge. And she goes, can you help me with this? And so we spent 2 weeks writing out this lesson plan, pamphlet thing. And then she went and presented it, ran off the old mimeograph copies, the old mimeograph copies. And I think it was like 12 pages by the time we got done with it. And so that's where I started getting interested in it. And we wound up getting 6 months worth of food, in the number 10 cans, freeze dried. There's a company called Sam Andy, great stuff. From 1971, we still have most of those cans.
Nice.
The only thing that's ever gone bad so far was the flour. The wheat is still good. The flour, once it's been milled, even though they had it nitrogen filled, it picked up the taste of the can. And it's really nasty tasting. But everything else is still good that we've opened up on it. But that's where I got involved in it, and that's why all the learning emergency preparedness, everything else. When we moved to Arizona at the north rim of the Grand Canyon for my junior and senior year in high school, that I got into real wilderness rescue and survival there because we get city people. We're going to go to the Grand Canyon and we're going to hike through the Grand Canyon and we're going to take one water bottle. Yeah. And they get lost and everything else. And we'd have to, get on the horses, go riding out there, looking for them. We had, and I learned a lot about rescue and what to wear, what not to wear. And anyways, I'm not going to go. I got a whole rant on what to wear, what not to wear. But
I just want to say this: I've seen how you get patients out of the Grand Canyon, and no, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. Hi, Alaskan Prepper. I saw you jump in.
So, yeah, I mean,
I want to say hi because they're great.
Yes. Alaskan Prepper.
I know there's a lot of great people out there.
They're all on our channel.
In all of this, all my life learning since 1971 emergency preparedness, planning. From when we were living in Arizona, we had a location we were going to go to camp out, whatever we need to. And from California, when I got married, I married a great woman.
You too?
Yeah, Staff Sergeant Campbell, United States Army. She was a drill sergeant.
Hoorah.
So, and she was raised on a apricot orchard farm, and so she had that mindset as well too. And so we all just everything's just worked out. But we've always, how are we going to get there? What can go wrong getting there? And it's a lot of things you don't realize right off the bat, but as you learn and you do it slowly, one step at a time, don't try to do it all.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. And you wind up thinking, okay, so I got to have multiple ways to go, multiple plans. We had our trucks and our trailers to bug out. We had our backpacks for us and our boys. Both my boys were in Boy Scouts. My youngest one made Eagle. The oldest one would have made Eagle, but he didn't want to do the project. He had more than enough. He had more merit badges than he needed. He just didn't want to do the project. My youngest one, he got his Eagle at 16. He got the Denali Award at 16 and 1 month. He was in a venture crew, which is the co-ed Boy Scout stuff. He did what's called Cavalcade in New Mexico, where they ride horses, camp, ride horses, camp, ride horses, camp for 9 days.
Wow.
And, and so we had everything. We had a lot of things. Bicycles, we had regular bicycles. That was kind of like an emergency to get away from our vehicles. We had to abandon them where we could come back later that night and attack whoever chased us off.
I'm liking where this is going. We totally got to do this.
Like I said, so my wife being in the Army, marksman. I've been a hunter and for archery, rifle, pistol hunting, and then both my boys were big into shotgun and rifle. And my daughter, who had already moved up here to Idaho when she was going to college, she was the captain of the fencing team at BYU Idaho. And so she's big into swords and knives.
See, and that's one thing I thought was really cool. Going back to the EMP book, when they're building their team and they're building up people, they've got family, they've got friends. You've got people that you trust first. And then they've all kind of divided and conquered learning different things because different people have different interests. Some people are really into gardening. Some people are really into learning medical. And I thought that was really cool as you started with the core people that you already trusted. They didn't go out and say, okay, he's a doctor, so we're going to bring him in. She's an engineer, so we're going to bring her in. It was the people first.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool approach that I've heard other people, and it's kind of a debate because their one fallout was trying to find somebody with advanced medical training. They could never find somebody that was a friend of theirs and a doctor or a nurse or something. And so they actually had to post-event bring in a doctor that was needing food because, of course, him and his wife were starving. They didn't have anything to do.
Right.
They didn't have any preps. They didn't have anything. So his medical training was his buy-in. Yeah, his buy-in.
Yeah, exactly.
The one member that got shot earlier actually saved the person's life. And so they're like, okay, you're welcome to come in. You don't need to bring anything. You're good. You bring enough with knowledge to come into the group. And I thought that was really cool. And I didn't know if anybody else, because we're looking to buy the retreat here soon, we wanted to start with that of saying, the people that we wanted to bring in is people we're already close with, we're already friends with, that trust is already there. And so bringing those people, like you said, with your daughter fencing and somebody else knowing horses and livestock and whatever it may be, those people are already trusted by you. They're already, part of your inner circle. And so it's something that you don't have to work on that part of it with. I mean, you can bring in a doctor, but is a complete jackwagon and you can't stand him and nobody wants to be around him, right?
Okay. NWA prepper, you don't need to do medical. No one needs to know medical. Just don't worry about medical, dude. Just don't worry about it. It'll be all right.
NWA.
Well,
Keep in
I
mind-
mean, the reason why I'm over here, I'm
Yeah,
chuckling.
yeah.
The reason why I'm kind of chuckling about what
No,
you're saying
no.
about developing your groups and stuff. I've written 3 books that are available for free online right now. And in each book, they wind up starting out with their core group. And in the one, they actually create a mag.
Okay.
And they go and they recruit in for the mag, which is kind of near but kind of separate from the main core group.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors, dentists, physicists, engineers, and that group kind of grows incidentally through other means, other stuff. But anyone wanting to be at the site, they call it Redoubt Village.
Okay.
They have to buy in. They have to sign the confidentiality notice. They have to abide by the rules, and they know the penalty if they screw up and they start breaking the rules. They get kicked out. And their stuff gets confiscated. They get kicked out.
Nice.
So there's a hardcore penalty for protecting the group.
Okay.
But yeah, there's
Personally, okay, this is me jumping in, just playing devil's advocate
Go ahead.
with that approach. With that is, I know some groups that operate like that and they look at it like that, but I've seen disgruntled members trying to say, well, they tried kicking me out. They say, I'll just come back. I know where everything's at. And that's why I say starting with somebody that's already close. That's already your best friend. Your
right.
Your brother, your sister, your cousin, people that you have known and you trust that have your same core values. And that's where you start with. And then
that's what they did.
That.
All right. The main character's father is a bigwig attorney in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does is he's had different survival groups contact the law firm to get their legal stuff done and everything else like that. So he has knowledge of several small groups or ones that are trying to form a group. And he also knows, being a professional attorney, he knows a lot of doctors and other lawyers and he's picked up people that are interested in that lifestyle, but they don't want to broadcast it because they're professionals.
Yeah.
And they don't want to get ostracized for being a prepper.
You don't want to be one of those crazy preppers. Who wants to be
exactly.
one of those?
So
I love weird looks from my family.
Yeah. So in this book, he gathers these, and he takes about a year to build up the group for the Redoubt Village. And so, and that's what they do there. Of course, the main character happens to be the county sheriff.
That helps.
That helps. But I mean, it's and if you ever tried to write something, I've been writing on these books. Some of my characters have taken a left turn on me that I didn't want them to go there. They just just the way I was writing, and the way the juices flowed, and it's and they've you've had some people that's come out of left field that were supposed to be just a passing character, that suddenly all of a sudden, ooh, wait a minute, this person would be someone to bring in, and a truck driver, for example, that was delivering supplies to the camp, also brings his 2 sons who are truck drivers. They load up when they're trying to evacuate all the supplies out of California. They're loaded up truckloads of sugar, and they show up. Hey, we got truckloads of sugar here. Is this our buy-in?
There you go.
And so there's a whole bunch of different things that'll happen. Now, you're talking about not trying to look for people, but train in skills and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the videos I did on mine is planning for emergencies. It's a 3-part video. One of the parts I talk about skills, and I just list a bunch of skills that I can fit on a 1 page, starting with I can't remember what the skill I started off with, But I go all through the skills, and the last skill I put in there is zombie killing for all the people that believe in zombies. But you got horsemanship, which includes a farrier, someone who knows all about shoeing horses, training horses, breaking horses. That's that person. You have someone a skill that I like to learn might be aquaponics, raising fish and plants together. First aid, trapping, how to trap.
This one here's learning that one.
That has been my project for the last couple of years. Last year I was learning trapping. This year I'm perfecting or at least improving.
Along with that comes butchery.
That's my job. He catches and I cut him up.
All right. Horticulture. Not just the gardening, but trees.
Yeah.
Learn how to pop, and then running a greenhouse. How to start plants in the greenhouse early and start pollinating them, and then and take all that stuff. Blacksmithing, electrical engineering. That popped up there for a second.
I was trying to scroll down.
Yeah. And so that all right, plumbing, electricity, carpentry. I'm having a brain fart here.
Welding. Anybody?
Well, yeah, welding was on there. Welding was on there. Machinist was on there. Yeah. 2 out of that's one of the things that really kind of broke my heart is when my dad got cancer. Yeah. When he died a year after I got married, but he was a master electrician. He was a farrier. He was a machinist.
Wow.
He was a welder. He ran heavy equipment when he was younger. Operating engineer. So fortunately, he trained my brother and I to do most of that stuff. But and over the years, I had my Class A general engineering contractor's license for a while.
There you go.
But there is a lot of skills that you don't think of. Along with those skills, there's a lot of supplies most people don't think of. And the one supply really pops out that most people don't think of, you would probably think about it, feminine hygiene products.
I did a whole video on it.
Exactly. You'd be surprised the number of people I talk to and they go, oh, I forgot about that.
I get reminded often that I need more.
At least twice a month.
Now,
I have a daughter.
You have a teenage daughter now.
In the book, since I haven't read it, you have the EMP book. Do they have animals with them? Dogs, cats, any type of animals they take with them on their bug out?
On the bug out, no. It is the man and his wife getting to the retreat, and there are people already there.
His retreat group.
Right.
And there are animals already in place, but no.
That's one of the retreat members, though, or it was a family member that was at his family farm that got me thinking about a skill that I would love to have somebody that knew this. He was a maintenance man for a company. And so he just knew enough general knowledge to get bunch of different types of machinery working, to small engine repair, to just about, he is his Mr. Fix-It pretty much for the company.
Yeah, he had retired and they still called him back as a consultant because the new guys couldn't fix it.
Yeah, so they would call this guy, and he was pretty much a fix-it guy. He was maintenance guy. He knew enough about electrical to plumbing to machining, small engine, just a general maintenance man. And I was like, man, I've got to make friends with my maintenance guy, because I got me thinking, I was like, I could totally need him in my group, because I like said, being in the machine shop, I can run the machine all day, but if it breaks down, I don't know enough to repair the machine. But my maintenance guy can get anything back up and running. And so
when I worked for a construction company, I'm going to get, no one's probably going to know who they are, Mountain Cascade. One of California's biggest underground construction companies. They did sewer, water, storm drains, all that stuff. So they have a lot of heavy equipment. They developed and designed new equipment that hadn't been used before. Now it's becoming commonplace. But the backbone of that company was their 3 mechanics.
Yeah.
Now, when I say mechanics, this guys aren't just mechanics. They fixed the head. They worked on the trucks, the pickups, the excavators, the dozers, the soil processors, all the heavy equipment. And a lot of the new heavy equipment has a lot of computer stuff in it nowadays. And these guys are sharp. If they're a journeyman heavy equipment mechanic, they know a lot. They can get anything up and going. And they are expert welders. And, that's so if you have friends or someone who works for a construction company, find out who their maintenance guys are and make friends with them, because that is someone that has a massive skill set. And these guys are required to take their trucks home with them. Big, huge trucks. They're semis with a toolbox on it, basically.
Yeah.
And they have so much supplies and stuff in there that if a disaster happens, you want that truck in your caravan.
We're just bringing this over here. We're confiscating this.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, going back to the book on the bugging out, the caravanning and stuff. One of the things I've put out a video about a month ago of coming attractions, the videos I'm going to do during the wintertime, since I'm no longer working outside on the farm. I'm doing a bunch of emergency preparedness videos throughout the winter. And one of the videos I'm doing on is bug out communications. I'll be doing that one here in a little bit.
Okay.
And ways to communicate amongst your bug out group. Well, you got ham radio, so you got that. You know what FRS is?
Yes, I do.
Family Radio Service, the FRS/GMRS stuff.
I would never recommend programming the FRS GMRS MERS into a Baofeng. Never, ever, ever. I would never do that.
Yeah, it's very hard. Now, the original Baofengs, that were military grade, a friend of mine was a member of the Mars team, the military radio affiliated service, whatever. Because he was part of that, as part of the Mars thing, for his Mars radio, he could take his ham radio, which was set up to be able to do it, clip a couple little things in, and then he could broadcast easily. All you do is, he said he had to clip two connections in there, and then it opened up the entire FRS GMR service for his Baofeng.
Yes.
That was the older original military grade ones.
Okay.
But here's an interesting thing. In the FRS GMRS frequencies, there's a radio out there that works the same way that the military radios do for frequency hopping. They call it, most people call it, it's a scrambling or whatever. Basically what it does is it'll jump from one frequency to another frequency to another frequency in a pattern in milliseconds.
Okay.
So if you're listening on, say, the GMRS channel 10, all you're going to hear is a quick zzz, 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 zzz. But they're bouncing around. And so they got like, I'm trying to remember. It's been a couple months since I pulled it out. I believe it's got up to 20 presets on it that everyone's go to preset 1 and they can all talk to each other. But it's jumping all around unless you have this type radio. You have a regular GMRS or anything, you're not going to be able to hear it. You can be talking on yours and it will still get through because the way it's jumping frequencies so fast, so many.
Okay. It's basically matching the patterns.
Mm-hmm. Each one matches preset 1 matches, all of them have the same pattern if you're on preset 1 or preset 2 or 3. I'm just losing it here. I have another brain fart. It begins with a V, the type radio on it. I can't think of it right now. But hey, Amazon has them. That's where I got mine from.
There you go.
If you type in frequency hopping radios, you might find it if you Google it. But yeah, that's something else that I recommend that anybody's planning to do a convoy to bug out with, where you got multiple vehicles or multiple families, that they each have a couple of these radios. That way they can communicate, and you're going to find out that 99.9% of the population does not have them.
Yeah.
It looks like our comment section is pretty much caught back up.
I need to address a couple things that have come through. Kanzi, Mono Walker. I recently, like way back when we started the channel, did a bug out cart video where I ripped it. And then I was educated on the Mono Walker. It looks viable. It looks tough. It looks to be a very good option if you're on foot and have $1,500 to spend on a hiking backpack with a wheel. So on that one, go. As for the California ham radio ban, here's kind of what I understand is going on. They pretty much said, we don't need you guys for emergency services. What it really does is it says that the emergency the ham guys don't.
We're back.
I'm back. Are you back?
Yeah.
Okay. No, seriously, Kanzi, look up the Mono Walker. It's cool.
Now, one thing, Oki Storm Chaser just said he had something similar to it. His only complaint is the center of gravity sometimes made it, because it is one-wheeled.
Yeah.
Oki, you jumped in quite a bit when we were talking about it. He said he did have a problem with going over boulders and things like that. It was an off balance, not great.
Wonderful. Welcome to 1840 kids. Yeah, thanks, Uncle Al. But back to the ham radio thing. Basically, it means that the emergency ham guys don't get preferential treatment with the towers, and the towers being protected and the power being kept up. It's not that they're banning ham radios. What California said was, we think we have the infrastructure that we don't need you. Thanks for playing. And they took them out of the emergency response club.
Sort of.
Here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Again.
That was Governor Gavin Nuisance. I hate him, so I butcher his name all the time. I call him Governor Nuisance instead of Newsom. And basically what he said on a state level. Now, his edict does not affect ham radio at all, because all the repeaters are not state owned. They're not state run. They are run by private radio clubs.
Exactly.
Every county that I've been in contact with has given Governor Nuisance the one finger salute on the ham radio. They said, screw you, we're going to keep using them. Every municipality that has a CERT program, the community emergency response teams. Who's leaving?
NWA prepper.
Hey, see you later.
Night,
oh, by the way, I wanted to say hi, Uncle Al. Every community that has a CERT program, the community emergency response team, is also giving them immediately, sorry, you can't tell us what to do because we are a federal program. Screw you. We get our money from the federal government, not from the state. So basically all Gavin Newsom did was cut the state's throat.
Gotcha.
When it comes to the emergency stuff, he's going to find out that a lot, and even a lot of state agencies behind his back are saying, we're going to keep using these people because they are these guys are our backup emergency plan. So yeah,
You got to head to bed in a minute. But
Yeah.
finish up, and then we'll.
yeah. So
wrap
that's so that's the basic on that is that yeah, he's basically saying the state's not going to support you, the state's not going to do this, and since most of the stuff dealing with ham radio is a federal program, not state, and it's governed by the feds through the FCC, not the state. Basically, he's just screwing the state government. So that's my rant on Governor Nuisance and the ham radio.
It's all good. You're more than welcome.
All right, we'll do a quick recap on what we think of the book, and then I've got to get to bed because, like I said,
I may hang out a bit longer.
Freaking work.
I will hang out a bit longer.
But yeah, back to EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots by Jonathan Hollerman. I quite enjoyed it. I like that. I do like that it was another EMP book, but written by somebody that was a specialist. The one thing in the book that probably jumped at me that I wanted to kind of touch on just really quickly, just as a mindset thing. I don't know if you remember this from the book. How something you would think was a good deed in that kind of situation, because we get a lot of people saying, well, how can you not feed every, give that somebody a can of something, or hand them an MRE, you've got plenty. There's a scene in the book where they're going through town to pick up the doctor, and here comes these people, and they're giving the doctor an MRE so he can, because he hadn't eaten in a few days, and so to get his strength up before he goes to do surgery. And here comes another guy out, I have 2 kids, I haven't been able to feed them, and he's just desperate. And so the guy feels really bad and compassion, so he hands the guy an MRE out of his own pack. And as they're driving off, the other neighbors come out and just bash the man's head in and take his MRE. And I was like, holy crap, this really good intention, it worked out really bad for the guy who got the MRE, and it's just kind of scenario got me really thinking about, in that kind of scenario, normal compassion and normal things they're not going to be the same anymore. You can't approach them the same.
Yeah.
Your mindset to how you're helping somebody has got to be completely different. It's got to be completely under the table, so you're not drawing more attention to yourself, to your group, or to the person that you're helping. That was it was such a weird.
It was realism.
It was realism, but not realistic to what we deal with today. Today, oh, he did it again. You booger.
Thanks. NWA, you're mine. I'm going to get
put
you
that
back
out there. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. But normal scenarios, something, as compassionate of helping somebody out like that, that's what really kind of stuck, that one scene really stuck out in my mind. It's because that I would do something like that. I would, take from my own mouth to go help somebody else. I don't eat for a day, but they got to eat, kind of mentality, because I'm a compassionate person. You're a compassionate person. But in those days, it's not going to be the same level of compassion. You've got to know when to back off, not just for your own sake, but for that person's sake as well, for their own OPSEC, for their own security, not to just help them where everybody can see. And I thought that was such a weird scenario.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things a lot of us talk about in the preparedness community on the government level, is that low key.
Mark.
Don't stand out. Don't draw attention to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, and even in the public prepper community, a lot of people are now starting to realize, hey, and advocate, don't worry about going out and buying all this camouflage gear. You're going to draw attention to yourself. Regular.
He mentions that in the book as well, of that he had an opportunity to buy like fatigues and all the camo gear, and wearing all the, military, state-of-the-art military, because he was in the Air Force. But he also mentioned of once people are not getting helped, once people go a week or two without any help or any food, their animosity is going to grow a lot too. So if they see somebody even resembles the military and they're not getting help, they can attack just for the sheer point of view. They think that you're one of the people in charge that aren't helping their family.
Right.
You know, he brought that up in the book, and I hadn't thought about that. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'd be kind of ticked off at the military too if I thought they were supposed to be coming in to help and riding in cavalry.
Yeah. And the other side of that page is that people are going to, and the word's going to spread, is that, hey, be on the lookout for preppers. They have supplies. Yeah, those are the guys that aren't military running around in camo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the best thing to do, the best camouflage, the best camo is street clothes.
Yeah, gray man in it, like everybody else is saying on the chat, gray man. But Steve actually had to talk about a simple gray man outfit as well. It is kind of funny because I've lost so much weight recently. I kept some of my bigger clothes. And so I would wear some of my bigger clothes because it looks like I haven't eaten in a while. You know, look how much I've lost. And I thought that was like, man, I could buy some like a little bit bigger clothing. So it makes it look like I'm even skinnier than I actually am. And
okay,
with him, I thought that way. I don't know if anybody else would have seen that. Aw, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Badger.
Okay, something for your wife there, and all the other women out here. As soon as an event happens, clean the makeup off. Do not put any makeup on.
Oh, I'll get makeup. I look like I used to like Halloween makeup and hollow out my cheeks a little bit more.
Hair in a ponytail.
Yeah.
Baseball cap. Baggy clothes. Walk hunched over. Hide the tatas.
Hide the tatas. Okay, yeah.
Now right. You're down with your sports bras.
So the reason is, you're gray manning yourself. You're not, but you're also you're not advertising, hey, sex.
Good
because point. There are going to be those that when the situation happens, hey, there's no cops to arrest me. I can go grab whatever I want to grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the reason why, I was so glad my daughter was displayed at such an interest in knives and swords. Because, hey, you can hide a knife in baggy clothes. You can hide several of them. And someone comes up and grabs you and stuff and run away.
Stick it to them.
Stick it to them and run away.
So back to the book real quick.
Uh-huh.
I did find the ending with the big bad running this town and whatnot to be normal prepper fiction.
Yeah.
A good conclusion. So how many nuclear blasts out of 5 would you give this book?
We did, instead of stars, we're doing, I'm going to say 4 out of 5 nuclear blast.
Okay.
We're still working on a good rating system. 5 buckets of rice and
5 mushroom clouds.
Mushroom clouds. Yeah. I give 4 out of 5 mushroom clouds. There was some corny parts. There was some issues with some of it. Not so much the practical nature of it, but it could get into where you feel like you're reading a technical manual sometimes, which that's fine if you're learning, but if you're just wanting to jump into a novel, it can be kind of, okay, let's get on with the story. But overall, I enjoyed it. So definitely 4 out of 5 mushroom clouds.
I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 as well, but for the exact opposite reasons.
Okay.
I loved the technical aspect. I loved the lectures. I loved the learning. The fictional story with the big bad who owned his own retreat and took over the town. Meh. I actually enjoyed the educational part of the book.
Yeah. It was good.
Before you go, what is the next book we're going to do next month? We're going to start doing these at the beginning of each month.
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, we're gonna probably because it's going to be a couple of weeks with Thanksgiving coming right around the corner. We're not going to have enough time for the next live stream, so we're just going to be doing this once a month. The next book is going to be Borrowed World.
We're going to go with the Borrowed World series,
mainly because Borrowed World is not an EMP book, so we were going to try to do something different besides just EMP books.
So Franklin Horton's Borrowed World.
Franklin Horton's Borrowed World. It is part of a series, but we're just going to do the first book in the series.
Okay. The Borrowed World, a novel.
A novel of post-apocalyptic collapse.
All right.
Franklin Horton. What is going to be our next book that we're going to be reading over or listening to for us? Because being in the shop, I can just pop in my earplugs and listen to it. It's a lot easier. But like I said, I did enjoy EMP for ideas for your retreat, ideas for building a community, ideas for bugging out. Even for bad ideas, the shopping cart idea, don't do it. I would recommend the book for everybody to read, but I'm going to go ahead and go to good night, kids. Thank y'all, everybody, so much for joining. I don't know if you're going to keep on playing.
I'm going to hang out for a little bit longer.
But Miss Kim's got to go to work in the morning, so I need sleepy time.
And Mark Chase says you need a tactical moo-moo.
A tactical moo-moo. I can market that.
Okay, if Prepping in Progress starts a store, Mark, it's your fault.
Hey, I've thought about just doing all kinds of female more geared stuff, but yeah. Tactical moo-moo, I'm all about it, man. I'll give you 10% of the store too for that idea.
Sleep well.
All right. Love you guys so much. I hope y'all continue to have lots of fun. Good night. Good night. Mwah.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay. I want to show you something. I want to show you something here. I'm going to use this around. I'll show you something I just found. Okay, so the Tri-Square
TSX 100.
All right, that's what they look like. Those are the frequency hopping radios.
Okay.
And so basically what it's showing there, it's frequency 8 sub pattern 6.
Okay.
So it gives you a lot of get this back up here. Too low. There we go. So it gives you a good variety of frequencies to choose from for your bugging out radio frequency when you don't want everybody to be able to hear what you're saying and come sneaking up on you because they heard your plans. But it looks like they're currently unavailable on Amazon again. They come and go. But Tri-Square, I got what 8 of them. So I got those for our CERT program. I lent them to the CERT program. They reminded me until they got so many members that they and they went and bought a bunch of their own because we were having problems with everybody in the community, all the boys and stuff that buy the radios at Walmart or Home Depot would get on the frequency while we're doing a drill and start, so we got the frequency hopping ones to keep them off. That way we could talk and they couldn't hear us. They didn't know what we were doing. And yeah, it kept our operations for the CERT program going good.
Okay. I like the look of that. I may pick a couple of those myself.
Yeah, they run on. They got a little rechargeable pack that goes in there, and I believe it's equivalent of 3 AA batteries. But if you put the AA batteries in it, you can't put it in the charger.
Gotcha. Thank you, Girl Spawn.
Okay, let me go ahead and change that back so I can see what's going on in the regular chat over there. Yeah.
Where's my daughter to bring me coffee and goodies?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bartender.
No, you're a teenager.
Oh, I can't tell if Uncle Al is still in here. Yep, he looks like he's still in there. Oh, and Southern Ohio Prepping's in here now too. There is an event coming up here that is not an EMP, that it has to do with large comets / asteroids in their path past, near Earth objects. And I'm not going to go into more of it because Uncle Al will get mad at me. But later this year, it'll become more apparent. But if you're interested a little bit about a novel about that, it's free. I'm giving it out to anybody that wants it. I got 3 books on the series about this type of Twaki event. If anybody's interested, if I may go ahead and tout it out there.
Where would I go to get this?
Okay. It would be the THE asset, ASSET center, all in one word, .com. theassetcenter.com, and then you click on books. And I bring it up over here, guide you in there, right? The Asset Center.
For a limited time, there's a free copy of Against the Wind, first book in the series. Family Compound, book 1, Hunker Down, and the Scout and the Ninja series, book 1. Yeah,
book 1 is Scout is Trustworthy. Now, so right there underneath, you see it says Against the Wind Saga.
Yes, sir.
You click on that, and there are your 3 books.
Okay.
And you download them in PDF. Now, all right, yeah, I've written a lot of manuals for Homeland Security, but trying to write stories and stuff, and sometimes my mind sees one thing, and where I misspell a word, like I'll misspell a word, or I'll leave a part of a word out, like instead of saying can't, I put can. So there are, like I said, this is free beta copies for everyone, and I appreciate feedback, guys. Just if you find spelling errors and stuff, fire it back at me. Let me know what I need to correct. I've been I've done it a bunch more.
Be careful with that, because I have been known to rip people apart on Goodreads, and then the author comes back and says, "Okay, where was that error?"
Yeah. So this page, this page here, you said this is what it should, this is the word that's misspelled. THERE instead of THEIR. Simple little spelling errors like that. I think I've gone through it 3 times now from feedback, and we think we got most of them done. I'll be finished reloading them up here shortly, but they're all good. But basically, if you can tell, as you can see, the first one, the comet there coming by the Earth. Well, yeah, it's a planetoid that passes between the Earth and the Moon. Now you got a planetoid almost the size of the Moon passing between the Earth and the Moon. What's that going to do to the Earth? Gravitational pull. Not only are we going to have like 500 foot to 1,000 foot tides, you're going to have the magma of the Earth pulling as well. And this is all stuff I got from a friend of mine at USGS, a lot of this data, and another friend at NASA. So, but anyways, it's fun. It's great. Now, word of warning. This is not just action adventure, especially the Scout and the Ninja.
Okay.
There is love stories in here.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
All right. Yeah. The thing, the Scout and the Ninja, they're both 17 years old, just shy of their 18th birthday, and they're madly in love. And they can't do anything about it. And they've swore they will not do anything about it till they are 20 years old.
I can live with that.
And so, yeah, it's and there's a bunch of, they get different things, and each thing takes place in a different part of the United States, mainly over here in between Arizona, California, and Idaho. So, the 3 stories start out. So, but yeah, it's free. Anybody wants it, go ahead, download them, read them, have fun with them. And hopefully I'll have Against the Wind Book 2, Heroes Never Run out here by Christmas. Knock on wood.
Good luck.
Yeah. But yeah, this is basic, and you'll probably like, because there is a lot of technical stuff in there, explanation, planning, telling people how to prepare, the different ideas and on how you can plan, how you can do bug outs, and it also talks to the mentality of people that buy in to what government says sometimes. Oh, it's all going to be all right. Don't need to panic. No need to do this. And there's going to be a lot of people that are buying into it, doing nothing. And there's going to be the others that are going, well, I'm not going to raise the alarm, but I'm going to go out and get a bunch of stuff here, there, and everything, and do it slowly.
Well, you worked on the inside. What do you think the ability to actually respond to a serious event is?
Give me an event.
Okay, let's be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go pseudo EMP with terrorists hitting multiple power substations.
Okay. Now EMP or the substations?
The substations. I said pseudo EMP.
Okay, so basically a grid down, substations being attacked and stuff. To actually take down the grid, they would have to hit the proper key substations, transfer points, to cause a domino effect.
Okay.
If they just start trying to take out a substation like one in New York City and they hit 3 of them, yeah, it's going to be a blackout for a while. But because the way that small area is set up, it's going to it may trigger out and shut down a larger area for a day or 12 hours. Then the power is going to come back on.
Okay.
I don't want to give away secrets to terrorists. Think on a different scale. All right. One that's very well secure that they can't really hit. The Niagara Falls power plant.
Yeah.
If they were able to take out power plants, that's going to cause a bigger problem, because you're going to have also now that power plant's not producing power to this huge area. So it's going to try to draw from other areas, which is going to overtax those other areas. And that's going to be a bigger domino effect. If, say, they were able to take out 15 power plants in the eastern United States, they could probably cause the grid to go down for half the United States for up to a week.
Okay.
Then areas will start coming back on. But the problem is with those power plants down, depending on the amount of damage that they're able to do to it, depends how long it's going to take to come back up.
Okay.
Now, the military, all branches have lots of generators. There are some aircraft carriers which can produce a massive amount of energy. There is private sector data centers which can produce a massive amount of energy. Give you an example. In California, in Concord, California, a nice big city, home to Bank of America's data center. On top of the one of the buildings, they got 7 diesel locomotive engines powering generators. They can reverse feed and power the city of Concord, half the city of Pleasant Hill, and half the city of Walnut Creek.
Okay.
That's not the only data center around. They're all over the place. Each bank has a data center. Stock markets have their own data centers. So, and a lot of these data centers have more than enough power to supply themselves and the surrounding area. The Concord Data Center has one of those generators can completely power that entire 5-building campus.
Okay.
So they can use 6 to reverse feed.
Okay.
And that's the mindset in a lot of the banks is 7 times. Their backup power is 7 times what they need.
Okay.
So
I
a
was
lot of people don't know about that. So yeah. So what are you going to say?
Well, I was drawing my scenario from Franklin Horton's Locker 9 scenario. That's fascinating about there actually being backup power. I can't ask that, and we can't, and you can't answer that question here. So I will bite my tongue.
All right. You're wondering about what the government has along that line.
I'm looking at, well, the government's going to come and help me. Well, the government's going to take care of us. Well, the government's going to do this. They're not coming.
Okay. After Katrina, and even after especially after 9/11, there was a realization that as much as the FEMA would like to be able to support everybody, they can't. They know they can't. That's why there is ready.gov. That's why FEMA's doing has all these emergency preparedness on their independent studies program. Free classes for everyone to take on, how to build a kit, things on household hazmat, all sorts of training that's free to get the American people ready if they will get off their duffs and do something. Prior to Katrina, the big push was a 72-hour kit. Prior to Katrina, several of us were saying, no, that's wrong. You're going to get people killed. It needs to be 7 to 10 days minimum. What they learn in Katrina?
Longer.
7 to 10 days minimum.
Okay.
I got a little gnat flying around here bugging me. So and that's just, it's not just one kit either. There's a lot of us now have been putting out, and I've run into even more people. I don't know if they're picking up off of some of us have been putting it out from the government side. You need to have an auto kit. You need to have an office kit. You need to have a shelter-in-place kit or a SIP kit, SIP. And then you need to have a get-out-of-Dodge kit. So your office kit has enough the office kit could be considered a 72-hour kit because all that's for is to get you to your car.
Yeah.
Once you're at your car, you have a 7 to 10 day kit in your car to get you home. The reason is that it came about because of the Loma Prieta earthquake when the San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge was damaged.
I remember that.
The BART was shut. The Bay Area Rapid Transit System was shut down for 3 days, I think it was, while they inspected everything and made sure everything was absolute. Oh, got a mosquito. Everything was absolutely okay with to go underneath the bay, in the tubes that go underneath the bay. People were trapped in San Francisco to get across to, and the Golden Gate Bridge was shut down for a day or so. To get home, they had to go south around the bay down through San Jose, come back up through Fremont, Oakland, and then on up. And then if they were in Marin County or Solano County, where a lot of people commute to, down into San Francisco, then they had to wait until the Carquinez Bridge, the Martinez Benicia Bridge, the Antioch Bridge, and the Golden Gate Bridge were opened up, or not the Golden Gate, because that was shut down for a while. The not San Mateo, not Dunbarton, the one that goes across from Richmond to Marin County, to make sure to get across to those. Otherwise, if those bridges were non-functional, they'd have to go out Highway 4 past Antioch, which is about 45 miles, cross one of the levee bridges, which are fairly stout up there, come up around Highway 12 through Rio Vista to get back up to Fairfield, Vacaville, Vallejo, and those cities there. And if they needed to get to Marin, then they had to go a little bit farther up and around the north part of the bay and come back down south to get to Marin County. And just to drive that normally is a good 6 hours. Now you're doing that in an emergency situation. And if the power's out in areas and there's no gas to be gotten.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say 7 to 10 days for a kit in the car. And then a shelter in place kit. I'm not sure where you're at here in Idaho. We don't have to worry about it too much for this. Around the Bay Area, it was a big concern because you have Shell Oil Refinery, Chevron Refinery, which had a lot of boo-boos, Union 76, Tosco, all these refineries that every now and then sound a siren, shelter in place. Either were spewing chlorine gas out, which was big for Chevron. They've done it a bunch of times. Or something goes wrong with their cracking system and you got this really noxious chemicals out and you need to shelter in place in your house. And so a shelter in place kit would have all the visqueen, duct tape, everything to seal your house up, and whatever food you would need for 4 or 5 days in case it lasts that long. Normally only lasts about a day and a half at the most. But these are all different kits most people don't think about to prepare themselves for whatever's in their area. But then you take back east farther where you get winter storms. A shelter-in-place kit there may be a month's worth of food if you're trapped by a winter storm and your power goes out. So a lot of these kits are just basically guidelines to be adapted to your local area and the events that you have in your area.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, all right, think of the possibility. What possible events are there? Auto accident, things that emergencies that could affect you. Short term to long term. You could have an auto accident. You could have a hazmat spill. You could have a biohazard spill. You could have a person with an infectious disease, communicable disease, come in on from overseas, with bird flu or whatever. You could have an economic collapse. You could have wildfires. Hey, California's been getting hit with wildfires lately that have really been affecting a lot of area. Just go through the alphabet. You can probably come up with every alphabet letter. You can probably come up with several events that could affect you. Do you have to prepare for all of them? No. What you do is you come up with a simple base plan and then prepare for the ones that are going to hit your area. In California, do they got to prepare for a hurricane? No. Tornadoes? Once in a while, the Central Valley will get an F2 tornado, maybe. Once every 5 years. Now, Oklahoma, do they got to prepare for hurricanes? No. Tornadoes? Oh, you bet your boots they do. So you got to look at your area for what type of kits and plans you need to have. Economic collapse can be local, regional, national, global. Getting tongue-tied here. Begins with F, lack of food. Famine can be local, like back in the Oklahoma Dust Bowl. It was Oklahoma, a little bit in Nebraska, but mainly Oklahoma. But you can have one that's, could cover the entire Midwest. You can have one that could affect the entire United States. You can have a global one. So a lot of these events can be multi-stage. What state are you in?
We're in Arkansas.
Arkansas. Okay. something people in Arkansas probably won't even consider. But my friends at USGS are watching carefully and have been for the last 10 years. New Madrid.
It depends on what's part of Arkansas. Whether you really look into New Madrid, because Western Arkansas is really out of its effect range, depending on
the size
studies that you look at.
All right. The last New Madrid earthquake back in, when was that? Early 1800s, late 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From New Madrid to South Carolina, it rang church bells in South Carolina.
Yeah.
It broke windows up in New York, in Connecticut, up there. We don't know what it did to Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, the Dakotas, because there was nobody out there. Now, here's something that most people don't look at. From the Rocky Mountains to the Atlantic Ocean is basically a single non-fractured tectonic plate. Now, once you get to the Rocky Mountains heading west, there are hundreds and thousands of fault lines. Every fault line diminishes the effect of an earthquake on the other side of it. Loma Prieta was a 6.7. Now, 6.7, if it were like over New Madrid, the effect range would be 100 times as large as it was for California, because by the time it got to where my house is in Contra Costa County, which is on the bay, on the east side of the bay, it diminished so much so that there was no damage at my house, because it had to go through 47 faults, and each fault takes up, as it hits, shockwave hits it, disperses some of that kinetic energy. That's how come from New Madrid in the early 1800s, late 1700s, when that went, it shook the entire East Coast, because it was one plate, so the whole thing shook. It wasn't like, trying to break, wiggle through from one to the other, across and back like that. The whole thing just went. So that's what, the one in New York that freaked them out about, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
That was a 4.3. That was nothing. I mean, to us in California, that's a truck driving down the road. It's, but there it shook such an area, and it was so strong because it's a strong, solid plate. So, that's another thing, people, you don't get earthquakes back, out there in the Midwest and East Coast very often. And so when they do happen, everybody panics, everybody freaks out. It's like, what is this? Oh no. But in California, they get them all the time. Up at Geyserville, they get earthquakes, 20 quakes a day. 1.2, 2.1, small ones like that all the time. To them, they don't even notice it. So planning for what type of event's going to hit your area, earthquake, it's not high on your list, but it needs to be in the back of your mind. And so going back to what I did for Homeland Security, the base plan was the basic, supply and requirement plan. Then you had a tactical response plan for earthquakes. Well, what do we need specifically for earthquakes that's not covered in the base plan? Oh, fires, wildfires. What do we need for wildfires that's not covered in the base plan? Winter storms. What do we need for winter storms that's not covered in the base plan? Now, what is covered in winter storms, fires, earthquakes, and tornadoes or whatever? What is common amongst all those? And those that was pulled out as whatever separate supplies was highlighted, so that we weren't doubling up on supplies that we didn't need to. So if we had the supplies for the earthquake and there were 5 items in the one for the winter storm. Well, we completed the earthquake one first, then we don't have to get those extra supplies for the winter storm because they're already in our supply list from the earthquake. People ask me, "Oh, how isn't this all confusing?" Well, yeah, emergency preparedness can be like a giant spider web. You tug on one part of the web, and other parts move, and that's how supplies are connected. So you got supply. This supply is good for this, and this, but it's not good for this one because you don't need it for that one. And so that's what you got to look at when you're getting your supplies and making your plans. Figure out what supplies cover the most amount of events that can affect me in my area.
Okay.
And then from that, it makes it easier for you to build up your supplies. And then you also look at, all right, of my supplies, what is the amount of supplies I need of each particular supply? And the same thing goes for food. So let's take food to help you figure out some of the supplies. All right, rice. Get rice. Well, yeah, rice is good. What can you do with rice? You can have steamed rice. You can have teriyaki chicken and rice. You can have teriyaki beef and rice. You can have rice pilaf. You can do Spanish style rice. You can do Mexican style rice. They're 2 different types of rices. One of the things I made for the Boy Scouts and they absolutely loved was called Southwestern Survival Mix. Ground hamburger, rice, diced tomatoes, white beans, black beans, and kidney beans. And then a big pile of taco seasoning dumped in there, all mixed up. And then you can eat that 20 different ways. You can eat it in a bowl. You can put it in a burrito. You can put it in a bowl and eat it with chips. You can do a bunch of stuff with it. Kitty. So you look at your foods and stuff and you figure out how you can use your food in multiple ways. And the one that has the most versatility is the one you stock up the most on.
Gotcha.
Pastas. What is probably the best pasta to stock up on?
I would say spaghetti just because it's a smaller noodle that you can make a lot of things with. And
it's condensed. It's tight.
Speaking of you guys, Kung Pao chicken.
Yeah. So like spaghetti, you can make, instead of macaroni and cheese, you can make spaghetti and cheese.
There you go.
You don't have to have thin fettuccine to make your chicken parmesan. You can use spaghetti, just the one spaghetti. Something that's favorite in our house that a lot of people get freaked out when they hear us talk about it, but it's been around since before I was born. There was a restaurant in California called Bob's Big Boy. If you saw the Austin Power movies with the Bob Big Boy being launched, that the first store was in Glendale, California, and my mom worked there as a waitress. One of their signature dishes was spaghetti and chili. You have a bowl of spaghetti, chili on top, a slice of American cheese. Oh, that's good.
Yes.
And people feel spaghetti and chili. Try it. You'll be hooked. It is very good. And so you can use like spaghetti. So your rice, spaghetti, 2 very versatile things. Now you get into diced tomatoes. What can you put diced tomatoes in? Any hamburger helper meal, just about any hamburger helper, you can add diced tomatoes to. That Southwest Survival Mix I talked about, that started out as hamburger helper, cheesy enchilada. My boys absolutely loved that, except they didn't like that gooey white cheese crap that came with it. We'd always throw those packages away and just sprinkle grated cheese on it. But we were spending so much on it, my wife decided to try to imitate it, make it up, from stuff around the house. And so we came up with a really good, tasting almost identical, made at home version of it. And then we started adding to it. She started adding the diced tomatoes. Then we started adding more rice to it. Then we started adding beans to it. And so it just changed. And so in your planning for your disasters, you think the same way, or in emergencies, you think the same way. What can I use this for in multiple ways? That way you don't get overloaded. You can stock up on a few things, like whenever the rice is on sale at Costco or Sam's Club, or the diced tomatoes at Walmart. You can really just pick up on a lot of stuff that you normally eat. And this is the big thing. This is going to be a big point here for your food storage. Everybody listening, eat or store what you eat what you store. If you're not eating it now, don't store it, because afterwards you're not going to want to eat it anyways.
This is true.
Now, mac and cheese, if you're going to stock mac and cheese, which I have nothing against it, what can you do with mac and cheese to make it better or different? Any ideas? Chat, any ideas for what you can do with mac and cheese to make it better or different? Give them a second to fill it in here. But there is actually, think about it, there's a lot of things you can do with it that most people don't think of. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what they're saying over there.
He's giving
add real peas, lentils, spices, garlic. Okay, good ideas. How about this? A can of tuna to it. What do you have now? Tuna noodle casserole.
There you go. Chicken
to it. The canned beef, like you get at Costco, the Kirkland canned beef, which is good stuff. I love it. Now you got a beefy casserole. A can of chili mac. There's a lot of things you can take just one simple thing and change it up into a lot of different varieties. That way you store one main item, and that's why you do the rest of your preps. A lot of the guys I listen to, I'm not sure. Do you go into the Freedom Stick area? All right, I'm going to dance around this without using it, so you don't get dinged on anything.
I appreciate it, but yes, I like my nugs.
Yeah. Okay. So your Freedom Sticks. Some guys say, "Oh, I got this one. I got that one. I got this one. I got that one." Yes. Like hammers and tools. You have a hammer for a sledgehammer. You have a framing hammer, but you don't need to have 400 hammers going up 2 ounces at a time.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, example, the current big popular one by that one company that begins with a G, ends with a K. They're talking about the 9 or the 10 or the 40 or the 45 or the 22 or the 308. Most people don't realize your 38 and your 357 are the same diameter, just different like cartridge. Your 10 and your 40, same thing. The 40 is a shorter cartridge. So what do? You get the bigger one, and you can fire either one of them out of it. Now, there's rifles too that you can get different powered loads and stuff. And I've seen a couple rifles where you can swap the rifle barrel out for a different caliber. And that way you don't but everything's on the receiver is what the licensing's on.
Badger, we are not playing Nug Wheel of Fortune.
Okay. So when you're going along that line, so on your other supplies, we're talking about Freedom Sticks now. You don't have to have a dozen of them. One of my favorite ones was an over/under 22-410.
Yeah.
Very versatile for getting food. And if you have the 410 that can fire the slug out of it, you can bring down a deer. So you don't need a lot of variety of freedom sticks.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people waste a lot of money having one of everything. So, and then you got other things to consider. Going back to the book and your caravan and your exodus or bugging out, you got to plan your distance with what you have in supplies, what you have to carry the supplies. A friend of mine had a cabin up, like I said, basically up near the northeast corner of California. He had a cabin up there. He had a few supplies up there. In his house, he had 2 years worth of food at his house. He didn't have a trailer.
Okay.
And he's going, I got this. I go, fine, I'm going to come over tomorrow. It's my day off. Went over. I said, all right, you got 20 minutes to bug out. Pack your car. About 5 minutes into it, he stopped. And you see the light bulb go on in his head. He goes, we can't. Why? Because I got to leave everything. Okay, you take all these excess freedom sticks you really don't need. You sell them and you get yourself a 2-axle cargo trailer. And you keep most of your stuff in the cargo trailer all the time. Your dry stuff, and then you can rotate stock out of that back into the garage and rotate it when you need to rotate it to keep stuff as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
But most time you just keep it in there. What do you need to bug out now? Back up, hook up, and on the road.
Yeah.
I swear he tried to kiss me after that one. But yeah, it was, it is, things that people don't think about. Oh, I got all my supplies, but how are you going to transport it to your bug out location? Now,
we've got a couple of trailers, and the one I kind of like because it's got an enclosure on top needs a new tire.
Yeah, when the last trip I made up here, when I brought my my cargo trailer up, the tires were getting a little worn on it, so I went ahead and bought a whole new set of it. Now I have 4 spare tires.
Gotcha.
Save the old. I just got new rims and tires and saved the old ones for spares.
Guys, I'm gonna let Gil talk for a minute. I've got to check on something real quick. It's past the children's bedtimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what we got going over here and thing. Not a shopping cart, hopefully. Okay. One of the things, guys, to consider in your if you're going to a bug out location other than where you're at, go ahead and stage a lot of your non-perishable food and other supplies up there already. Extra clothes, go ahead and store those up there. That way, when you do, if it happens to be your vacation cabin you're going to, you don't have to take clothes with you when you go up there. There'll be clothes up there already. So go ahead and store, extra, cases of spaghetti, rice, whatever, canned goods you want to store up there. Also, hang on one second. Let me grab this right here. The one type of can you don't want to store for long term, a can that has that type lid on it. These lids are weak around the edge here. They're made to be popped off with that, so it comes off easily. Yes, I have some of these here, but hey, I got a bunch of these here really cheap, and so I'm going through them right now. I'm, These is not part of my long-term food storage. The other thing to consider for your long-term food storage up at your bug out location, do you guys know how to can? Do you have canning materials? That might be something you want to take up there and stage up there so you're not having to take it up there with you. Now, if you're doing canning at home right now where you're at, you can have a set there too. Now, why should I have 2 sets? Well, I have 1, 2, 3 of the big water bath ones and 2 big pressure canners, plus some a couple of pressure cookers that can be used for canning as well. I have half the stuff up here in Idaho. My wife has the other half still in California. So, well, I'm getting the compound here ready for her to come up to, and when she retires in a couple of years, I can still when she comes up here during her vacation time, we can do canning up here. She's doing canning down there. Some of the stuff you can can, it lasts a long time. My mother canned peaches, pears, and nectarines. And the stuff she canned when she did that, the pears, I know we canned so many of them, they lasted and were good to eat for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
So canning supplies is something you may want to go ahead and store at your bug out location, as well as what you're going to use down here. But you want to get as much supplies to your bug out location, vacation cabin, whatever it is, beforehand, because if you have to wind up bugging out on foot and you have to abandon everything you have at home, you want to have supplies up there. It's like here, if you look at some of my videos, you see I've put 2 40-foot high cube cargo containers here at the place in Idaho. And I've got shelves in there and we're starting to load those up. So yeah, we're moving as much stuff as we can from California to up here. And we're some of the stuff I've been gathering materials and stuff since 1971. I inherited all my mom's and dad's food storage and a bunch of their preps, all my dad's machinist tools, all that. Most of that stuff is up here already. And so we have a list of everything we have, and we're building upon it here now, even more so. Food. Do you know exactly what you have in your pantry at home, in your storage supplies, in your food storage? Do you rotate your food storage with what you have in your pantry? Now, most people say, "Oh no, I just got number 10 cans out there." The big, huge, Sam Andy, Mountain House, Thrive, or whatever brand it is you want to use. I got cases of those out there. Do you ever open them up? No. Well, what we're doing right now is we have a bunch of stuff that we won't open up. The wheat, the rice, that stuff's going to keep forever.
Yeah. So
we got that stored. We're not going to worry about it. Hot chocolate. Yeah, we open those up and we go through those because those have a shorter shelf life. But we have a ton of this size cans of stuff.
Yeah.
And we have we bought one of those from Emergency Essentials. We bought one of their rack systems, and so you put the can in, it rolls down, comes back on the bottom. So you take the bottom one out, and it just rolls, and it automatically rotates. But then we also buy these cans by the case. So when that one runs out, we open up the oldest case, first in, first out, put it and restock that. We have a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, listing all the different canned foods we have. how many of them we want to have on time at all times. What's the maximum we want to have in the house? And so that way we know, all right, we need to, we're getting kind of low on this one. We need to watch for when it comes on sale and buy a couple more cases. And then there are certain times, like up here, there's a local grocery store, which is really nice. The first part of October, for 2 weeks, they had a massive case sale. And it was like 25% off normal prices, but you had to buy a case at a time. Or, so I bought several cases of the pears, several cases of the peaches. And so basically I'll go through a can a day. I'll eat half of it at breakfast, half of it at dinner. And so because like I said, while you were gone, I told everybody, don't put that type lid in your long-term food storage.
Amen.
Yeah,
I want to go off of a couple things you've said.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do number 10 cans, if you're going to do the gamma lid buckets, guys, date on the bucket. Make yourself an inventory sheet. Computers are cheap. Spreadsheets are easy to do. Number your buckets, number what's in them, number the date that it went in, and then physically put hands on and check them every single time. And back to bug out locations. What Kim and I are working towards, we already own the one property. We're working on the property next to it. There are multiple positions open for her in the surrounding area. She can go to work up there. Our plan is, once the kids are definitely out of high school, we're out of here. We are out of small town living. We're out. I call it city living. This is a small town. I can walk to the city limits from the center of town in about 15 minutes. So get out of wherever you are and live at your bug out location. That way you are not traveling to it, checking it, stocking it, and going home. You're there. You're already in place. What animal husbandry you're going to do is in place. If you're going to grow an orchard, it's in place. And you're already hands-on. So if an event takes place, you're already there. There is no bug out unless it's get home.
Right. Well, that's kind of what we're doing here right now. So I'm going to run a quick little story for you. In 2016, after several years of looking, we bought this 5 acres in Idaho. It wasn't where I really wanted, but looking back now, I'm probably in a little bit better situation than where I wanted to go to. We're in a city. We're in city limits. You guess how big the city is? It's 0.24 square mile.
Okay.
399 people in the city. There are 2 roads that come in it from the west and 2 roads, same roads, that go out on the east side. The city can shut down and barricade in 10 minutes.
Sweet.
Everybody in the city basically has a garden. There are some people that have huge 15-acre gardens. There's a couple of us that just have 1-acre gardens, and some just have half and smaller and on down. But just about everybody has a garden here. Just about everybody here hunts. It's the whole town is of like mind. Yes, we have city water, city sewer, natural gas. We have power. For our property, when I was putting power line out and water line out to the cargo containers, and it's in one of my videos, I came across the old well. I dug into it with the backhoe. So I went around it, bucketed off, fixed it, and this spring, I'm going to rehab that well and get it working again. We have solar panels we're going to put up. Right now I got about 2,000 watts worth of solar panels. We're going to get a wind generator to put up because the wind blows here quite a bit. especially at night. So when the solar panels aren't providing power, the wind generator will. We have a couple generators, gasoline generators for backup. I want to buy a tri-fuel generator, one that runs on natural gas, propane, and gasoline. And you just switch, on the side has a switch on to go from natural gas to propane to gasoline, whichever what fuel you want to run on. So that takes care of water and power. We're on natural gas. Well, I want to get a 1,000-gallon propane tank to put out by the shop, since the gas won't go to the shop. It does, but it doesn't go to the shop. So with that, then I can reverse plumb, and I can plumb propane back to the house. Most people I've heard about converting your stoves to run your household range to run on propane. Oh, you got to buy all these conversion kits. Generally, no, you don't. To go from natural gas to propane, all you got to do where the orifices are in the you got your burner and it has the orifice there. If you tighten down the orifice so it's tighter and smaller, that's what you do to go to propane. Now going back the other way, yeah, you got to replace that orifice now with a bigger orifice to go from propane to natural gas. But to go from natural gas to propane, you just need to tighten them down. And I've done a couple stoves like that we use for outdoor cooking in the summertime in California, where I just tighten them down, put the propane tank on it, works just fine. So that takes care of the gas problem, going from natural gas to propane. For sewer, well, I know where the old septic tank used to be. I know where the leach lines are. I found them when I was digging around. I can easily, having been an operating engineer working underground construction, I can throw in a nice septic system in a day and a half. So,
wow.
Hey, Uncle Al, see you tomorrow night on the panel. So we will have this property here ready to be able to go off grid, flip of a switch, turn of a valve, and we're there. But that's only when everything drops off and stops working. So our plan is to stay on the grid till the last second. Why should I use up all my solar stuff, wear out my batteries, wear out the stuff I don't have to, the pump for the water when I don't have to? Save that for, save it, give it a longer lifetime when I really need it in a Milwaukee situation.
Gotcha. Guys, I'm being told that we need to knock it off because we're keeping her awake.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you get a chance tomorrow night, just in time prepping, it kicks off at 7:30 Mountain Time.
Okay.
You're going to have myself on there. Anthony from Prepared, Palmetto Prepared, Reed from Manifestations of Imagination, Dan from DMAC Outdoors, Cheryl from Cheryl DIY Fun, and Dave from SOP, Southern Ohio Prepping. And then, of course, Will Russell from Just in Time Prepping.
If I'm out of a keto, I might drop by.
Okay.
All right, guys. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Gil for jumping in and joining us. It's been great. 2.5 hours worth of live stream. Thank you all for being here, and get some rest. Tomorrow's another day. Keep prepping.
Stay happy. Stay safe.